appreciate you clicking on this review. I got the early chance to check out Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. That's right, Winnie was in my face. But not just that, Winnie decided to send me a little package, so let's open this up in the beginning of this review. Could sway my opinion if something nice is in here. Let's open this bad boy up. It's kind of scary knowing Winnie knows where I live, but hey, come find me, big boy. Kicking things off, they have something bubble wrapped. It's heavy too. Looks like they gave me 2 free tickets to see Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey in theaters. I'm gonna give these away. Like, subscribe, and comment you want them. Oh, okay. Oh, this is kind of cool. They sent me a Blood and Honey 2 little pot. This is, I think, their version of a Dune popcorn bucket. Comparing the two, Winnie's hole is a lot larger. Looks like they sent me a shot of Jack Daniels with honey in it, with a little bit of actual honey. Wait till you see the movie and see what the honey's used for. Oh, nice. Looks like they sent me a signed copy of the soundtrack for the first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. Oh, it's got the characters illustrated on the back. That's kind of cool. I appreciate this. I think this is enough of a payment for me to give a good review.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
But all joking aside now, I can't believe we are actually here, where they made a sequel to that Winnie the Pooh horror movie. You guys knew my stance when I first got announced. I was actually all game for it. I'm someone that's like, fine, do a horror version of anything. If you actually put a little creativity in it, get fun with it, I will be down for it. And that was my mindset going into the first movie. Then I saw it for myself, and I was not a fan. You can go back and watch my original review. I tore that movie down and even just spoiled what happens in it because I didn't think people should have wasted their money on it. But you gotta give them credit where credit is due. They made that movie for about $50,000 and it managed to rack in $5 million. That is quite a profit. So it only made sense that they not only made a sequel with a higher budget, the thing that got me most interested in this movie, but they also created a cinematic universe. They've titled it The Twisted Childhood Universe, with movies like Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and even an Avengers-style team-up named Pooniverse. Monsters Assemble, set to be released next year. Expectations were not high for this, and you know what? We're on the right track to actually have some fun horror movies in this universe. No, I know this might not be saying much, but I enjoyed my time with Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 about 1,000 times more than I did with the first movie. This is still an acquired taste for horror fans, and for some, it's still not even a real movie. But as someone who grew up binge-watching movies like the Leprechaun franchise, Demonic Toys, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, movies that if someone told me those are bad films, I wouldn't argue with them, but I also can't deny I get enjoyment out of watching those kind of movies. That's always the tone and style I think should be aimed for with these childhood characters turned horror films. It's a ridiculous premise, it's a ridiculous idea, so you approach it in a ridiculous fun way, and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 does that. The upgraded budget in here that's supposed to be like 10 times larger than the previous film is very well showcased. The added on effects, prosthetic wise, from each one of the furry killer creatures in here is so awesome. I love the improved design between Winnie the Pooh to the owl to Tigger. I'm no longer looking at these monsters and thinking, yeah, that's just a dude in a mask. How laughably dumb is that you're trying to make me believe this is a humanoid animal. Not once during Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 was I thinking that. Was I thinking this is a man in a mask? I was like, the prosthetics are enough where I could be a little immersed. Not just that, but I got a real kick out of the personalities they injected to each one of Winnie the Pooh's friends. I got the chance to interview the director, Reese Frank Waterfield, and the writer, Matt Leslie. I'll be posting that interview on the Clips channel. I'll have it linked in the description. But one thing I asked them that seemed obvious when watching this movie is, did they mirror iconic horror characters when bringing to life Winnie, Tigger, Piglet, all of them? And yeah, Winnie the Pooh is basically like Michael Myers. He's the silent stalker, and that's how he approaches. Tigger in here is basically Freddy Krueger, and there's one clip they released online where you watch that, and yeah, you can see the inspiration of Freddy Krueger and Tigger. The owl in here, I would say, is a lot like a Pinhead type of character. Just oozes intelligence with a really strong voice. And I would say Piglet is like Leatherface. But even getting back to the budget, you can tell they used it to only enhance the movie, because while this is still obviously a very low budget horror movie, they used it in the scenes where it was most necessary, when it came to the practical effects, when it came to body parts flying. I mean, Winnie the Pooh at one point has a freaking flaming chainsaw in here. There's a sequence where Winnie goes into like this nightclub area, and the things they do to be able to show you some of the kills, but also limited with the budget, I felt like they got creative in And that's something I really wasn't able to say in the first movie. I didn't see a lot of creativity. I know maybe they were trying or they really wanted to, but they were so limited by that budget, it didn't feel that creative to me. And you know, a lot of things that made this movie feel more creative, I think could be attributed to the writer of the movie, Matt Leslie, because he's someone that has an actual good Hollywood credit to him, Summer of '84. And when you've proven yourself in the industry that you can write a good horror movie, it is a big risk to then want to jump into the horror Winnie the Pooh cinematic universe. But man, did he injected some much needed lore and world building in here that makes it feel actually lived in. In this movie, they go about explaining the origin of Winnie the Pooh and his friends and his connection to Christopher Robin and even that relationship and all of that. I felt stuff that actually worked and was much better suited than just having some random group of girl characters who rent a cabin and then that are stalked by Winnie the Pooh. This time actually making Winnie and Christopher Robin antagonists to one another, going into their backstory, revealing the layers about how it's all connected. It's like, yes, this is what it should have been from the beginning. I wasn't able to say the first time around with the first movie, I was actually excited with what they're doing with this cinematic universe. After seeing the second film, I see the potential. There's still a lot of room to grow, and we're going to get to those negatives. But right now, I definitely see them on the right path, on the right direction, especially also if these turn out to be profitable and they can continue to grow the budgets. They have the real potential to create some cult classics that might be guilty pleasure for a lot of people. Now, with that said, let me get into the things I'm mixed and negative about. Now, I say this with love and respect to the creative team because they've been nothing but nice to me. From someone who was trashing their first movie, the fact that they were able to reach out and just be kind to me is so nice of them. Don't think that the quality and budget of these movies went up so high you can start comparing these to like the Halloween franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. Not there quite yet. If I'm being real with you, I would put the quality of this on par with like the first Terrifier movie. And that's with me saying they're headed in the right direction if they keep this up. I mentioned even though the budget has been upgraded this time around, there are still some wonky effects in here. There's times where CGI you could just tell is noticeable and it stands out. I still think they work best with what they got, but like moments where like Tigger's tail is waggling, it really sticks out, almost like a PlayStation 2 effect. A kind of a bigger one that I think is still holding back maybe the series from fully going to its potential is some of the more serious moments. I appreciate what they were trying to do at some parts. They got a new Christopher Robin added into this movie, Scott Chambers, who is actually also going to be directing the Peter Pan movie. Now, don't get me wrong, Scott is a major improvement over the last Christopher Robin. He's given a scene where you can almost think to yourself, maybe this guy's a little too good for the Winnie the Pooh franchise. But the scene itself is very heavy-handed, right? It's supposed to poke at your heartstrings, and I don't know if we'll ever really get to that point in this franchise with the ridiculous premise it has, where you could honestly start to feel like sad and care. There's a lot of moments like that in the first movie, like where Winnie was torturing that Christopher Robin, and that whole scene had no humor to it, had no levity. It was just a straight up messed up scene for shock value, and I feel like some of the more serious and dramatic moments in here just bring out of tone the whole movie. Not in a way that like ruins it, but in a way where you're like, we don't need this type of drama in a movie where Winnie the Pooh's the killer. Because even on the flip side of that, there was a lot more moments in this movie where the movie was willing to make fun of itself, poke fun at the first movie. There's a hilarious reference to a certain vampire comic book movie that I was like, dude, yes, more stuff like that. This is what your universe is. Play into it. So if they could just find a better balance of just having a story that takes itself seriously without playing too much into the drama and more just being aware that you're in a ridiculous fun universe, have fun with that, I think they would see a lot more success and enjoyment from other people. Overall, I am kind of shocked they managed to make a watchable movie. I don't think I'd ever want to go back and watch that first movie unless I was going to make like an in-depth video here, but this second film, I would genuinely have this playing on Halloween, around Halloween, because there's fun to be had. The room for improvement is still pretty large, but at the same time, that's an exciting prospect because we know there's a much larger universe coming. If they can manage to continue making these slightly better and better and better, I think we'll all be shocked to where we'll eventually be with these movies. So when it comes to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, I'm gonna give Action 3 stars. Most every Winnie the Pooh friend and character gets a moment to shine and do something horrific, but there are quite a few dramatic moments in between a lot of the action, so be ready for that. Comedy in the movie, 2.5 stars. Oh, this is so much funnier than the first film. There's actually injected humor. There's self-awareness in it. That enhances the watchability of this because it's like, this is ridiculous. And now seeing that you're willing to lean into the ridiculous just makes it more fun. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I do love the origin story of Winnie the Pooh and his friends, the connection to Christopher Robin, the way it plays out from the beginning to the end of the movie, but when it goes overboard, trying to be something that it just isn't, gets a little too dramatic, have some really serious moments, I applaud them from trying that, but I feel like it just doesn't always fit in. Horror in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I'm not sure how many people will actually be terrified unless you're really young, but it's the practical effects I love in here. Winnie is just breaking bones in people's bodies, taking off people's heads with a bear trap, and that stuff is just so much more creepy when it's a tangible practical effect over a computer generated one. And suspense in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. There was actually 1 or 2 characters I actually cared for and didn't want to see perish, and there's a moment towards the end of the movie where I was actually like, no, don't kill that person, and I just didn't think this movie would actually make me have that kind of reaction. But overall, a lot of it, you can see where it's going. Casual moviegoers, I'm gonna give it a C+. I think there will be a lot more casual people that enjoy this movie this time around, but there's still plenty of people that don't like that Winnie is now a killer. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a B-, and critically, I'm going to give it a C-. Where in the last Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie, it was a straight up avoid, I can honestly say they have upgraded themselves where I recommend you rent and watch this at home.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
Now again, that's just my opinion on the film, and don't get me wrong, if you're someone that actually liked that first movie, then yeah, go and see this in theaters. If you were at all maybe curious and was burnt out by the last movie, I would urge you to give this one a chance, but maybe there's still some people that would be a little disappointed. Still though, I will make a spoiler review on this movie because I want to talk about the new added lore, where they could be going in the larger universe, and that's exciting. Let me know what you thought about the movie if you got around to watching it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.